Renault's rebooting the Classic 5 and it's available for pre-order right now if you're in France, with deliveries starting later this year. So what's it like? What's good? What's bad? And what do I think about it? Here's a first look at the 2024 Renault 5. The first thing to say about the new Renault 5 design is how well the team have captured the essence of the original car. To be fair, it's easier with the Renault 5 compared to other cars, as the original car was a master of space management, and modern cars also need to maximise internal space whilst minimising the exterior size. That's a problem Volkswagen had when rebooting the Beetle in the 1990s. The original car was very cramped. But the original Renault 5 was always packaged well, and Renault have taken the original car's character and updated it for the 2020s. Cars of course grow in size, and the new Renault 5 is no exception. It's a whopping 40 centimetres or 16 inches longer and 24 centimetres or 10 inches wider. That should mean more space inside, and of course it's by no means a large car by modern standards. You might think the new car has emulated the first generation car in that it's just a 3-door, but look carefully and you'll see that Renault has done the trick that Alfa did on the 156 by hiding the rear door handles next to the glass in black, so the car looks like a 3-door. It's an elegant design that gives the car a classic look, but I hope those rear doors are big enough and open wide enough to be practical. We all dream of the open road, but this car needs to be able to get kids into car seats in the supermarket car park, something an extra 24 centimetres of width won't make any easier. If you bought the Renault 5 back when it launched in 1972, the best acceleration you could hope for was a 20-second 0 to 60 time. The new car has a much more exciting 7.6 second time with the promise of more to come. Somewhat more surprising though is the top speed that's electronically limited to 150 kilometers per hour. That converts to a measly 93 miles an hour, making it slower than the 1.4 litre Renault 5 TS from the early 1980s. Is this because the new Renault 5, or to give it its full name, the Renault 5 E-Tech, is an EV and the motor tops out at that speed? Or is it part of the new European Intelligent Speed Assistant rules? These came in for all new cars sold from July 2024 that requires some sort of ability to restrict a car's speed. That could be through technology, for example, that reads speed signs. The rules also require a black box type of data logger, a driver fatigue detection system, and lane keep assist. I'm sure you'd be pleased to know that the new Renault 5 features a safety coach that analyses your driving and nags you to suggest improvements. This may become the first feature you'll turn off on your new Renault 5. Being an EV, it means the new car doesn't have a gear stick, but Renault is a handy baguette holder so you can pretend you still have a gear stick. But you don't have to make those brum brum engine sounds yourself. The car has one of those silly sound feedback systems that plays an electronic noise through the speakers to try to make up for it. But the Renault 5 EV gets a clever party trick, doubling as an emergency generator. Just plug the essential things in your home to the car in a power outage, and once the car's drained of power and you need to charge it up, just drive the car to an area that has power and charge it up again. There's a nice little external charge indicator. The 5 on the bonnet lights up in segments to show the charge state. The new car uses the Renault-Nissan Common Module platform that's used by too many cars to mention, but the small EV version of this platform is shared by the Nissan Micra EV and the Renault Forever that are both coming soon. The new Renault 5 replaces the Zoe that was a close relation to the Nissan Leaf. Renault released a hot hatch Alpine version of the Renault 5 back in 1976. As the Alpine brand is back, there's an Alpine version of the new Renault 5, known as the A290. Naturally, there's sport suspension, of course. The short wheelbase and having the batteries down low in the middle of the car should mean for a lot of fun, especially with a large OV or overtake button next to the steering wheel. Having said that, the 0 to 60 time is nothing to write home about today at 6.4 seconds, but it's the same as the original Renault 5 Turbo, so it's not too bad. Like the Renault 5, the top speed is a little disappointing, topping out at 105 miles an hour. So let's hope there are faster versions of the new car. Renault teased a Renault 5 Turbo in 2022 with a 0-60 time of 3.5 seconds, but I'm not sure that car will actually happen. For starters, they'll need to find a way of giving the car more power. Also, where would you put the turbo? It's an electric car, it doesn't have a turbo. And I can't see Renault making something faster than the Alpine version, as that would steal that brand's thunder. Maybe they'll produce a faster version of the Alpine and also brand it as a Renault 5 Turbo down the line. The interior of the new Renault 5 is similar to many contemporary cars, large screens with minimal buttons, but there are a wealth of buttons and controls around the steering wheel where you need them most. The center console can have optional 3D printed storage units. There's a voice assistant with ChatGPT built in, so maybe that'll be the second thing you turn off. Renault have put a padded dashboard on the passenger side, giving a hint of the original car. The original design was an attempt at crash safety, but today it's the airbag behind the padding that will save you. There's a nice splash of colour as well, something that's sorely missing from cars today. Renault's pleased to say that the denim seats are made from 100% recycled plastic water bottles, which just goes to show how many disposable water bottles humans go through every year. Are people aware that the stuff in these water bottles is available for free from these instant dispensing things that people call taps? It's also nice that Renault have launched with a range of spicy colours on the outside, and this should help the car stand out in a sea of white, grey and black. But you'll have to pay for style, at least at first. The price should come down a bit as Renault has led with the higher spec models with a larger motor. Right now it's for sale on Renault's French website for just under €30,000, that's about £24,000. That's about the same as the Megane, a car with more space and practicality, and yet the new Renault 5 is smaller than the Clio. You could buy an Audi A1 or the new Alfa Romeo Junior for the same price. And just a side note about the Junior, it was meant to be called the Milano, but the Italian government complained, saying an Italian sounding car that wasn't built in Italy wasn't allowed. As it's built in Poland, Alfa changed the name, but Milano sounds way better than Junior. So there you have it. I think Renault have created a really nice car here. The top speed is a little disconcerting, especially on the Autobahn, but then that's not exactly a daily occurrence for most of us. This is a car with plenty of character, and that's sorely lacking in cars today, so hats off to Renault for bringing some colour and joy into our lives. I've made a video about the history of the Renault 5 and there's a link to it on the right. Merci d'avoir regardé et je vous verrai dans la prochaine vidéo.